My wallet is sobbing. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hall now. It is breaking down, crying.
It turns out that Attila, the arrogant so-and-so, he's got a fake hammer.
Oh, a fake?
Yeah.
Whoa.
As I say, dick.
Welcome to episode 112 of the Figura Legions podcast, back after Easter. So how's it been, boys? How's the Easter been? Busy time? Quiet time with the family?
Mine was mixed. So very, very busy Friday, setting up the new fish tank. That was 7 hours of my life. I won't get back. But
Yeah, fish tank now.
yeah, the new fish tank looks amazing. A little bit loud with the pump on the filter. So I'm trying all sorts of different things just to quieten that down a bit. Not unbearably loud or anything, but louder than you'd ideally have it. There's a low background hum sort
To
of thing.
clarify, this is not relevant to the podcast because it's in a different room.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is not like this is not a waffles
This was not
incident
me
again. You're
bringing
not
it. I didn't
Yeah.
bring this up, right?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. If I
wanna
had a podcast
clarify
in there,
here.
you'd be furious.
to be honest, that's the kind of the low hum is kind of easy stuff to get rid of. Actually, it's the random noises that are the worst. Anyway,
Yes, that was an extremely busy day. Only lost one fish in the transfer there, so 1 out of 13. So I'll take that as good news. All the shrimps.
wasn't the problem fish? No,
It wasn't. The problem fish is doing much better now. Her fins begin to regrow and everything. It's she's doing really well.
well, at least you did the right thing by that.
Exactly.
By her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had then we did nothing on Saturday, pretty much just recovering from that day.
Yeah.
And then Sunday we had family over, so my brother and sister-in-law and nephews. That was good fun. Kids did an Easter egg hunt.
Oh yeah.
Even though they're 12, 13 and 16 now, they're still like, can we do it? We're like, yeah, it's chocolate. Let's go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Mine begged to do one as well. So I had to say, well, okay, it's me. Yes. Okay. Good.
And then did nothing on the Monday because it's bank holiday here, obviously, as well. So,
Good.
nice mixture of busy and quiet.
Sounds good. Yeah, the weather's gone bad here again. That's the only problem. It's getting used to nice weather, and now it's gone a bit rainy and meh.
It was lovely here on Sunday. We were sat outside in the garden all day, and then it's chucked it down most of the time since then.
Yeah, same here.
And Mal WrestleMania.
Yeah,
how did it treat you?
Spent the mornings up until lunchtime in bed, then hung out with my mate, went for a few beers, wandered around, get a bit of exercise, and then stayed up till 4 a.m. here to watch WrestleMania.
Oh, it was kind of it was a live thing, was it?
Yes,
it wasn't
yeah,
right.
on Netflix now.
Even though it was on Netflix, it was live.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It was good. Overall, I thought it was good. There was some disappointing bits. I think the main event on night 1 was much better than the main event on night 2, but yeah, all good.
So was there any surprise victors or?
A few, yeah. Well, the second main event was was John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, and I don't know if it was a surprise, but it was. I wasn't expecting it. But John Cena won. To become the most. He's won the most titles, 17 titles.
The winningest, as they say in America.
The winningest. That's the one. The winningest.
And Rich just steam going out his ears here.
Was it Ric Flair he passed in the most titles?
Yes, that's it. He must have been level with Ric Flair, and then this one took him past Ric Flair to stand alone as the winningest champion in WWE.
I mean, it's a good storyline, so why not?
Well, we'll see where it goes, eh? But,
More exciting John Cena news for me, anyway, is that the new series of Peacemaker comes out later this summer. And the first series of that was amazing, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Cool. I watched the first 2 episodes now of Last of Us Season 2. My goodness.
Oh, right. Is it good?
Yeah.
I still haven't watched the first series because my good lady wife has hummed and hard about whether she wanted to watch it or not, has now finally decided no. So that's my thing to start watching now.
Yeah. It started off slow, like the first half of the first episode was fairly, it was a little bit establishing because there's a bit of a time jump from the first season, but it got down to business. And episode 2, I was nearly behind the couch for half of it.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And if that's episode 2, I don't know what the rest of it's going to be.
So anybody that watches the show, if John gets paler and paler across the next few weeks, he's just getting more and more terrified.
Especially as the weather's getting better, then that's really bad if
It's
I'm getting
getting
paler
wrong.
and paler. Yeah.
What did you do with your weekend besides that
Me, I
going
played golf twice, and I'm back on the golf train. My shoulder has kind of cleared up a little bit, so got out on Saturday and Monday, so that was pretty sweet. And Sunday we had what did we do Sunday? Oh, we had some people over, relations over after lunch for a bit of cake and stuff. So that was cool. Yeah. Or no, we went to the neighbours. Sorry, yeah, we went to the neighbours because my wife's brother's birthday. That was it. Yeah, couldn't remember. Even though I'm not drinking, I couldn't remember. So that was just getting old.
No, we had some nice pudding stuff with our meal on the Sunday. So Kerry did a banoffee pie, just gorgeous. And Holly, all by herself, made some brownies, some
Sweet.
Cadbury's mini egg brownies, which are absolutely amazing. But I swear to God, she begrudges me every mouthful.
Why?
It's like, I was like, can I have some brownie, Holly? And then she'll come in and just glare at me because I'm eating some. And it's like, you need to share the food you make.
Yeah,
you need to share
part of
it.
the joy of baking is to share. It's not just to bake for yourself.
Yeah, she's like, you better not eat a middle bit. I was like, no, I'll just take the stuff around the edges. That's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, I won't. You can even have one of the mini eggs on top or whatever.
Yeah.
If you really want it. Yeah. What have you been doing all your life? Sharing, with her.
Exactly. I said, well, I won't share what I make then. To which she responded, well, your stuff's rubbish. She was like, whoa.
That's it then. Eh?
What? Like my money? My money
that's
no good?
That's fighting talk. Here we go.
Yeah. I'll call your bluff on that. Yeah. Actually, speaking of fish tanks, I finally got this guy out to paint from Brian C.
Awesome.
So I was at least an hour or two over the weekend trying to fit parts together to make a custom with him, making sure they fit, and had to do a little bit of dremeling of the holes just for the arms. Because I've learned from past experience that if you just jump into painting and then the stuff doesn't fit and everything isn't you haven't all your parts picked out for the limbs and all that kind of stuff, it just gets messy. So
it adds an unnecessary level of stress. I've had a few things painted, probably 10 now over the last 3 or 4 years, that I've then gone to put on the body and it's not fit. And I've had to then Dremel out the neck hole in the head. And this is a painted head that's costing money going, please don't break. And luckily, touch wood, nothing has broken. But yeah, it's nervous.
Oh yeah, that's a nightmare. I mean, even if you paint it yourself and then you have to risk breaking it, it's like, okay, I'd be sad if I broke that piece, of course, because it's hard to get and it's I only have one of them. But at least I wouldn't have put 2 or 3 or 4 hours into painting it if I broke it at this point, and I could just move on. But yeah, so that should be a fun one to do. When over the next week or two, and I'll obviously show it on here when it's done, assuming it's not crap.
It won't be.
In which case I'd be like, I never got around to it. Moved on to something else.
Yeah, I painted it. It was incredible. Then I dropped it on the floor and stood on it by accident.
Yeah.
So
just while I was taking the picture.
Yeah.
So annoyed. Oh.
Yeah. So that's the crack anyway. So I have a couple of little shout outs here to the start. So Andy Spinks is the first one. He got us all our ATL 25 from Toylanta at cost plus shipping. So very nice of Andy to do that for us.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Offered. So and he sent a vendor badge with my one, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
I feel like
cool.
a bit of a fraud, but but at the same time cool to have. And I cracked them open there during the week and just thought, because I'm sure there's been reviews of this guy, but I hadn't seen a picture of the way it's laid out in the trays, and it's really impressive. Really nice figure. Yeah, really well done. Paint apps really excellent. So yeah, you can be looking forward to that. I believe yours is probably with Rich right now, Mal, is it?
Yes, he has informed me before we came on air that listen to me. That
Episode 112. I think you can pretend that you're on air. Yeah.
In the pre-production meeting.
That's it. He told me that his package has arrived.
It has, and it's big. It's a big package.
It's a big package.
That's all his best chat-up lines gone in one.
Yeah.
Well, he's coming to see me on Monday. He's got to impress me with his package.
Exactly. Yeah, so Andy, bless him, sent them to Brett Stoddart, who very generously then sent them over to me with a box full of Big Bad Toy Store goodies. So that arrived not that long ago. So strange enough for me, they're still in the box. Yeah. But they will be out of the box, and I will bring one up to Birmingham when I see Mal on Monday, so you can have his.
I've got goodies for you as well, haven't I?
There you go with him.
He looks so cool.
It's looking good, huh?
Looks so good.
The camo paint app just looks so good.
Yeah.
It's one of those you don't realise how much you want it until you see
the little collar on the top of the boot. That's just that just brings it all together so nicely. So there he is. He looks like his own thing, but also a little nod to Roadblock, would we say, in G.I. Joe?
Definitely.
So, yes.
Yeah. And it'll be cool if they do a couple more of these over the years. Maybe, different color schemes, use different heads, different builds slightly. That'd be really cool. A little side collection without being a kind of a thing like,
I could see
a really good one with some light blue and dark blue camo colours, and maybe a figure with a balaclava type face covering that could maybe be used as a Shockwave homage for G.I. Joe. So just dropping it in the conversation there.
Or we could get something like the Storm Shadow white and grey digital one that they did in G.I. Joe. Do you remember that one?
That's not my Storm Shadow though, without being one of those people.
I had him. I quite
and is there any sort of skeleton or zombie type figures in G.I. Joe? No.
Well, I suppose really. The bat you could, but it's not.
But you could do a kind of a military skelly / zombie dude.
Definitely.
Why not? Could be its own thing. So that's him. This is a little custom I did recently. So very it's cool. The final picture I took of it. So, do you know who that head comes from? I need to look it up. I just haven't had time to research. I know I got it at Legions Con.
I do, John. I told you this in last week's episode as well. Okay. It's from Wolfgang Customs, designed by Mass Customs.
There you go. So it's a Wolf King head, a dwarf. I do remember that now. This axe as well. I got that at Legions Con. Not sure who that comes from. Possibly Anthony. He'll tell me.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah. Looks great. Anyway, I did the little gem. I did the little thing like a gem. So it looks cool. And even though it looks like Cavern Dwarf, it's all painted itself. And the Duban cape. And I actually painted a little bit. I did a little bit of darker dry brushing on it to make it look a little bit more worn. So, and a little bit less one tone. Yeah. That seems to work. Yeah.
That looks really good, John.
Yeah. So happy with that guy. Happy to have a dwarf on board for Legions Con. Why not? And,
I got some dwarfs for you as well, haven't I? Now that I bought some of Ralph's dwarfs.
That's right. Yeah, I got them as well.
Ralph
your
Mouse,
box is piling up. I'm just waiting for the package from Mark Calvo, which seems to be kind of in the ether. The tracking isn't updated for a week or two, so
I'm sure it'll arrive.
I'm sure it'll arrive. Yeah. It's probably just
and then
Easter delay,
Yeah, and then as soon as I get the box from David with the kind of beam stuff in for you, I'll package all that up with the figures on that I've got for you and post that across. So
awesome. And then in slightly more worrying news, we have wolf sighting confirmed in northern Luxembourg. And Luxembourg's small, so even though I'm in eastern Luxembourg, northern Luxembourg is not that far away.
Yeah. Well, they do wander as well.
So you guys don't have wolves, I believe, in UK.
We don't. There's been a long running thing to try and get them reintroduced, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere at the moment.
But I read the article. Apparently, they kind of keep to themselves. You're told not to really approach them, and if they approach you, just stay calm. Yeah,
there you go.
But and then I was wondering if maybe that was this guy they saw.
Probably about the same size.
The nice grey skies there.
When we were
So-
over in California many, many years ago, speaking of animals, there was a sign. We're in Yosemite, and they've got lots of bears in Yosemite, and there's a big sign saying, if you see a bear, don't run. Just stand there, make yourself big, make a loud noise, but, don't go towards it, don't run away, don't engage with it, sort of thing. It's like, that makes sense. I can follow that advice.
Uh-huh.
And then about 300 yards down the road, there's a sign about mountain lions. And it was like, if you see a mountain lion, you will need to fight back. Standing still and trying not to do anything won't be any good in that situation. It's like, wow, okay, different advice. Okay. So then Kerry was like, right, if a mountain lion attacks us, we need to fight it.
Have
Or
you a
you
stick?
just need to be the fastest runner.
I'm faster than Kerry. That's a good
Yeah,
point,
you
actually.
go.
So I would have been okay. Yeah.
Controversial. That's not what you want to be doing.
If she fights dirty, though, she'd like kick me over or something like that and then go past me. So
You push it. You're big.
Yeah.
You keep them occupied. You're tall. Right. And then something happened last week. So we speculated on Figura Obscura coming in a couple of weeks' time. And it might be back on the store again. But we got the little email on Friday. And because it was Easter and holiday time and all that, I'd kind of lost the run of the days. So I actually thought it was already Saturday almost in my head. And then I saw this email and I was like, that's a bit late notice. And I realized it was the Friday. So let's go over to that.
I was desperately resisting the urge to just jump out of my seat and burst into a Bollywood dance. It's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
So we got this on the Friday, 19th of April. There are no obstacles to the next Figura Obscura. And for me, at least, it was pretty quickly apparent that this was going to be Ganesha, because loads of people were guessing it from just a bit of art and the Hindu symbols kind of within the art that subsequently people kind of were showing us similar to stuff that's in the kind of culture for Ganesha. So so there was other guesses as well. What did we have, guys? Anyone else have a guess? There was something from the Monkey King, maybe? No.
Was it Ra was one that was mentioned?
Ra was very popular.
The sun god, from the Egyptian, which would make sense for what we got with the gods of ancient Egypt. But so having never really known anything about Ganesha at all and wouldn't have been able to tell you much about it at all, we got this. So pretty incredible figure.
Seriously, yeah.
Amazing looking figure. Absolutely amazing.
And mine is arriving already tomorrow. Seems like they shipped the all-ins out pretty rapid. Mal, yours is also...
Yeah. It's in Stansted as we speak. So maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday.
So 4 days
cool.
after ordering, it's already
Can't complain, can you?
across the Atlantic. That's incredible. Rich, you didn't order an all-in, so...
No, I bought two of the normal ones, so I guess that'll be shipping notice for that will be coming out at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So Ganesha is one of the most recognizable deities in the Hindu pantheon, the elephant-headed Ganesha, with a name that joins the word Gana, meaning group, and Isha, meaning lord or master. Ganesha is often referred to as the Lord of Hosts, the Lord of People, a fitting moniker for this beloved deity who is the next entry into the ranks of Figura Obscura. So I think it's pretty cool that
Definitely
they go this way. They don't just go for kind of, stuff that was IP and is now out of IP or whatever. They go for stuff that probably wouldn't be IP. It wouldn't be possible to put an IP on this almost. Like the same with the gods of ancient Egypt. It's kind of something from it's a bit like, I suppose, the Bible. You can't really copyright the Bible. It just is what it is. So we can be looking through all our lists of non-IP, but non-public domain stuff, and we're going to have to start casting the net wider when we do predictions, huh?
Well, I found out a very exciting one is public domain this week, didn't I? And I hurriedly messaged you. Apparently Pinocchio is public domain, so that'd be cool if we got him at some point. That'd be awesome. But,
do we want to get Geppetto as well then, or?
Oh, yeah, anything from Pinocchio would be cool.
With Pinocchio as a kind of a smaller puppet?
Yeah.
Or?
Thing is, would he come with Jiminy Cricket, though? He probably wouldn't, would he? That's probably IP protected.
Is that what you'd want, or?
Yeah, just a cricket with him. Just go, just coincidentally, he's holding a little cricket. No reason.
Yeah. Name TBC.
Exactly, yeah.
So this was the all-in. Obviously, the figure, the pin, and the mug. The mug looks cool. It's a proper coffee/tea mug, so I love those. Prefer those to the kind of tin ones.
Yeah.
The tin ones I don't really use for anything. They're just more decoration or maybe paint water, but I probably wouldn't use them for that. But I don't like drinking out of them, so these are much more preferable. Fat body, Rich. We happy with that? You're going to have a herd of stomping elephants.
That's a bit rude. He's been
a bit harsh. I mean, yeah, but there we go. Wow.
I painted one for you last year, so
you did. Yeah, no, I've commissioned a couple of fat torsos as well. So, this is great. I think the community's been crying out for a dad bod, hasn't it, for quite some time now. So it's great that we got it this way. And then it's brute scale, isn't it? So it should scale okay with 1.0s as well to a degree.
Yeah.
Roll on the fatter pig warriors, etc.
Yeah.
Pixie, just saying.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? Well, this is definitely opened the door for that. And they can revisit Monkey King with Pigsy at some point. Might be a year or two down the line, though. At this stage, then if they've released this one now,
I think so. Yeah, I'm just intrigued whether, take a slightly off topic, whether they'll do 4 this year. So maybe drop a Gods of Egypt in as well as the normal Halloween and Christmas one.
Maybe a single, because this is a single. And then
just a single figure, yeah.
I mean, that is perhaps the thing we should also mention, isn't it? Is that they've dropped this earlier than they usually do. Yes, they're going to have another release of it for those people who couldn't afford it, just following the Dragon fundraiser, I nearly called it.
Crowdfunding.
A crowdfund. But that still leaves May open for who knows what.
Yeah, there could be other shenanigans in May, definitely. So beautiful packaging as usual. This one is a kind of in a, what do they call it? But it's a kind of a weird box. It's almost like a square, but a tube.
Yeah, someone used the term obelisk. I'm not sure if that's
obelisk. Okay. Yeah,
correct,
I think it is symmetrical, though. It's not like doesn't narrow into at the top, but it's kind of different dimension to what we're used to. Beautiful art from Nate here. Really incredible. With the different kind of figures.
Some of this was done by that new chap who's joined the studio and doing some of the art. I can't remember which bits now.
Yeah, I think it might be the inside cover here of the...
It was the inside cover
of the flap, yeah.
Was it Chris, somebody, I think they said?
Something like that, isn't it? Yes.
Talented dudes they have working there.
Absolutely.
Really talented.
Yeah, so this is all the stuff you get. So let's see here. So it's a brute scale, which is great because it means it's compatible with 1.0 as opposed to ogre scale. I used to think when we saw the teaser first, and we were thinking of this Ganesha type of an elephant or whatever, that maybe ogre scale might come into it. But I'm glad they went for this scale because it's more compatible with more parts and also probably slightly cheaper in the end as well.
Yeah, and I think because Figura Obscura is one of those lines where people just, a lot of people just collect that. So to all of a sudden have a much bigger scale figure when you're not used to it, if you're not mythic collecting or cosmic collecting, then it makes much more sense to keep it pretty much in line.
I think so, yeah. And it's still bigger than
Oh yeah,
like
he's a big
the likes
chap
of
when you see
Krampus
him.
or Monkey
Yeah.
King or whatever.
Mm.
So 9.9 inches tall when the crown is on him. So there you go. The accessories include a bowl of madoka, which is this kind of food stuff here, this little triangular food stuff. It's a dessert. A parashoe, which is the axe. These are all new sculpts, I guess. It's incredible, all the new sculpts they put into this. A pasha, a bounty of fruit, apples, bananas, and grapes. So if you ever needed apples, bananas, or grapes for a customer for your display, there you go. His mouse / rat companion. So you can, it's not specifically a mouse or a rat, it could be either. And lots of assorted jewelry and adornments that can be placed in various different ways on the figure. So we saw them around the wrists, around the bottom of the legs, but yeah, so we get the fully bare arms on the brute scale figure here. Tarnog was maybe the last one we got that on, but he's in green. So you get this little seat because he's often pictured on a seat. So removable crown and back piece adornment, 2 swappable trunks. So
I love that. I love that.
I mean, some people were maybe like, oh, I don't like the articulation cut in the trunk, but it doesn't bother me at all.
No,
these are figures after all.
Yeah.
And then that you have 2 different options is just amazing. So it's pre-posed and it's bendy.
Oh.
So
Can we also mention the articulated ears? I love that fact that we're getting articulated ears.
Yes, the ears are on a ball, aren't they?
Yeah.
They can
So
do all
cool.
sorts of cool poses with them. So 8 total hands, 4 arms. So to allow a variety of poses and expressions. The arms here, why do we get 2 different arms? Do we know?
It's just the ones that are plugged into his back.
Plug in
isn't
the
it?
back. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course he does the 4. Yeah, he has the forearm pose. Yeah, and a fully illustrated booklet with 5 stories about Ganesha. So that's cool. So you can learn up on Ganesha. Maybe we can have a look at them down the line.
And isn't it, one of the hands is another one of the cool ones, isn't it? Where it's got a little peg on, so you can sit. You can properly hold the bowl of fruit or whatever.
Yes, it does. Yeah, you see at the bottom right here in this main picture. Yeah, so we take a look at them there. Yeah, so you see all the arms there. So I could have flicked on to the next picture and I wouldn't have had to make a tit out of myself. Yeah, I love the paint on the trunk. It's great.
Everything about it is so good.
And the soft goods, of course, these traditional pants that
they're so good, aren't they? Those pants.
Yeah, they're really great. Yeah, look really great. Yeah, so you see, he can hold the bowl as you said there, Rich. It's cool. Don't know how I'll be displaying them. Yeah, and that looks really cool around the back as well there with this kind of piece behind the crown. And of course we have a beautiful picture from Trevor, a little environment shot where he has the rat on his the mouse. I'm going to say mouse because it's an elephant. Is the mouse on the palm of his hand, and they're friends apparently in the stories. So that's pretty cool, because of course traditionally elephants are scared of mice. So a bit like how a lot of humans are scared of spiders, even though they're much bigger than them, you know. So what's the plan with this one, Mal, then? Is it the same, 1 in box, 1 to display?
Yeah, my usual, 1 in box, one displayed, and I did get a third one to have a bit of a play around with in terms of parts and if they could be used elsewhere and that sort of thing. But I've got myself in a hole, but I do like having the 1 mint in box. So.
Yeah.
You hoping it stays at 3 figures a year then, Mal?
You know.
True, but I mean, if you ever get into a hole, you can always those will sell pretty easy.
Box. It's probably worth a bit of money at that point, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Rich, then how many?
So I got two. So one I'll display on my Figura Obscura shelf. I love the fact you can do crossed legs, so I might go down that route, maybe cross the legs, sit him on his little stool. And then one I'll use more as like a elephant warrior sort of thing in Mythics. I might stick with the head that comes with it, or I might. I sent you guys pictures. There's about 4 or 5 different third party sculpts of elephant heads.
That's right, yeah.
And one of them's got like an armored helmet, really, but it's a bit thinner, but in like a decorative armored piece across the top. So yeah, that one would work really well with this. I might just get that and get one of those painted up.
Very good. Yeah. It seems like the torso, it really only works with this belt in terms of the look. From the video review I saw from Dorkler, which I'm sure you've checked out by now if you watch our show. So that's maybe the only thing with regards to the reusability of the parts, but at the same time, sometimes they have to sacrifice things for the look of a particular figure, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd like it to be more reusable, but they can, of course, do a different belt. See, they have the luxury of being able to just sculpt a new belt and do it for if they're doing a different figure with a big torso like this.
Well, I mean, that's what'll happen eventually, isn't it? This will get reused initially, or they'll reuse part of it with a new belt that they'll then sculpt, and then there's another belt. It's what they've done with everything as they go along.
Legion could have an elephant warrior.
Oh, cool. Well, they could have got a couple of versions of the torso already done. So one with without the forearms, so the back's filled in, and just the waist done ever so slightly differently, so it works with different belts. It's not just
I wouldn't be surprised.
Something that works with this.
And I've seen it. There's been a few people sort of complaining about, and Dorkler mentions it, that because of that stomach and the way it is, that articulation point's maybe not the same as it is normally. But in my head, I'm like, he's a big fat guy. I mean, speaking as not a big fat guy, but a little bit of a fat guy, I don't move as well as some of these thinner, trimmer people, So the bigger someone is, the less they are going to be able to move about.
He can cross his legs, so that's I think that's a point over a few of us here, I'm sure.
Exactly.
And again, the casual collector, who probably makes up a big part of the market for the Figura Obscura, they're not going to worry about articulation. They just want a cool-looking Ganesha figure, which is what they get here.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, so pretty cool. Brave of them to put it out so quickly after Bather, but at the same time, they're business, so they have to keep on trucking, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the past they might have held off, but now they're just like, no, at the end of the day, we are a business.
But it's, I think the difference here is as well, it's an in-stock thing. So you pay, like, if you have to pay for the dragon and wait. With this, you're getting it within a week or two.
Yeah.
4 maybe for you, Rich, but so...
Curse me for bad-mouthing barbarians. It's I'm copying it on the shipping, aren't I?
Totally what it's all about.
Who in the shipping department? Yeah, they all like barbarians in the shipping department, so you're snookered there. Yeah, so I got the all in, and I think that's what I'm going to stick with. For customs, I think I have too much going on, and then to also try and it's not once I saw it wasn't as easy a reuse with the torso, I was like, okay, I can wait on this guy and see, and even if I get my first one and then I see that I could use it for certain things, I can always try and get one in the second drop.
Well, I also guarantee in the Road to Legion's Con, people are going to start doing amazing things with this book. Turn them into fat ogres or whatever sort of thing. So that'll give you inspiration. And they should, fingers crossed, have some of these for sale at Legion's Con. So
they usually have a few, not like a huge amount, but they usually have a few of the Figura Obscuras from the year. So they're usually not that hard to get as maybe the first one or two were once they went out of stock. So anything more on Ganesha, or just happy we have him?
Great figure.
happy we have him, and he's got articulated ears, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and
I was watching Dorclair's review, and I kept saying to my wife, I was just like, "He's got articulated ears." She's like, "I know, stop saying that." I'm like, but it's articulated ears.
it's so good, it's so good. But yeah, it's exciting what it means potentially moving forward as well in mythics and cosmics, isn't it? So
definitely, yeah, and see what we get next. But yeah, just to see the amount of work. Well, I mean, they always do, but this is even a bigger departure than we say the Gods of Ancient Egypt. There was a load of new parts in that, but they were still the 1.0 kind of using a lot of the parts for this. This is when they do a full new torso like this kind of new style, it is a big thing. So
Absolutely,
yeah, exciting. Right, well, to round out the show this week, we're gonna, as we said last week, talk about the lore that's been introduced. The two new factions, the sect of Aresius, so got that one, I think, borderline right, and of course the Order of Beathir for the dragons. So we can have a little look through these and then maybe talk about what we think's happening or what might happen or what's missing, what's to come. So Mal, do you want to read us the
Sect of Aresius, one of a number of sub-factions that formed under the heretical order of the Five Pillars. This faction still survives in Mythos today, with members hidden in the shadows where they carry on the teachings of their ancient religion. The Order of Beathir, unwaveringly loyal to the great green dragon, Beathir, the order bears his name, is comprised of a military force whose origins stretch back to the earliest days of Mythos.
The Order of Beathir. Then we have the three new figures from the Beathir campaign. The dragon, of course, Beathir's Fury, and Sir Benegar. So, yeah.
It doesn't it reads like they don't maybe fit in with the good guy, bad guy situation that we've got so much at the moment, although Beathir, it kind of hints, is the more noble, the more good of the two, doesn't it, with what's been said?
Yeah, but they seem to be protectors of, you know, you got this 5-pillar thing that we'll talk about with Beathir. They seem to be protectors of the whole realm of Mythos, you know, whether it be against what they perceive as good and bad, not necessarily what we think is good and bad within what we have already, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, they might see Zylona's flock as bad because they're doing something that they, you know, don't agree with.
Yep. Yeah. Being too hippie-ish. They're like, whoa, no.
These guys are the rich of Mythos, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the sect of Aresius, so it has Arya the Talonbearer, and then Arazak, who is in Circle of Poxus right now, or that we knew, and Rhaegor, who was, of course, factionless up until now. So, interesting here. Obviously, Arya we got with the Reign of the Beasts pre-order, recently G-Con, and then the other two are existing figures. Arazak more recently in Poxus, but seems to have switched allegiance, and Rhaegor has found a home. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, Arazak's a right little turncoat, isn't he? Because he started off with the convocation of Basilia, didn't he? And then he swapped to the Circle of Poxus, and now it turns out actually he's part of the sect of Aresius.
I'd say Arazak is in Arazak's faction.
Yeah.
Or perhaps he was finding information and gathering information for Aresius.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
The return of Aresius.
Let's read through the bios then, Mal, starting with Sir Benegar. Short one here.
Yeah, so Benegar. The Order of Beathir is a military force charged with protecting the resting place of the Pillar of the West and also furthering his commands during his long slumbers. As a champion of Beathir, Sir Benegar is an important member of the Order that bears his name and one of the great green dragon's most ardently devoted soldiers.
Cool. And then if we go on to Beathir's Fury.
I really like this bio for Beathir's Fury. Beathir's Fury. Elite soldiers sworn to the mighty Pillar of the West. The unit known as Beathir's Fury are the shock troops of this order. Fighting under the command of Sir Benegar, the Furies wear silver battle masks under their helmets. These masks bear the likeness of heroes who have fallen in the course of their military service. By donning the faces of the remembered, the Furies believe that, even in death, soldiers are able to continue to serve in the Order of Beathir.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the
kind of explains the parts reuse as well, so I always like when bios do that. And then to get a full picture here, we have Beathir. Pretty hard to read on the screen here, but
yeah,
I'm sure you've got it, Matt.
Yeah. One of the ancient dragons known as the Five Pillars of the First World, the green dragon that makes it home in the deep forest of the West, is called by many names: Beathir the Green, the Pillar of the West, and the Warden of the Wood, being a few of these monikers. Beathir was first of the pillars to emerge in the modern age of Mythos. This mighty dragon looked out upon the landscape that was both familiar and strange to him. In the middle of the Great Sea, an area where no land should have existed, a new continent now lay. Flying high above these uncharted lands, Beathir looked down and saw a golden tower rising high into the sky, its sides adorned with the likenesses of mighty beasts. Strange beings gathered around the tower's base, pointing to the skies with fascination in their eyes as Beathir circled high above the tower. The Pillar of the West could sense the threat before him. This land and its people did not belong. They were intruders in the world he had known for so long, and their presence had to be dealt with. Flying back towards his den, Beathir knew what he had to do. He could not remember the last time all five pillars woke at the same time, but he also could not remember a threat as dire as what he saw before him now. He must raise his order and awaken the other pillars. Together they would decide what must be done to save the world of Mythos.
So what do we think, Rich? I mean, the part that we knew as Mythos or that continent before, that seems to be news to Beathir, so that's interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's he's going for a nice little fly, bit of a sea view, and then he's like, "What is that?"
Yeah. So how long has he been asleep? Would be the question.
Yes, because you presuming that Mythos, the continent that we've know as Mythos, must have been around for at least a couple of 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So he's been asleep for a long time.
Yeah. You'll have to get the old arthritis meds out to kind of get him going.
That'll be why the joints sound like they do.
Yeah, so
let's hope for the Kings Under the Mountain's sake he doesn't have the same dislike of dwarves as Smaug did in The Hobbit. Otherwise, yeah, they're in trouble.
And do you guys remember what Jeremy said at GCon about the five pillars?
Yes, he said they were all dragons, didn't he?
Yeah, so I have it here just in case we missed it.
So the question was, are the five pillars of Mythos all dragons? Yes, they are, but not necessarily all exactly this.
So there you go, about 4 hours 31 minutes into the GCon stream. So at the very end of it, someone asked that question, and that's what Jeremy said. So I don't know, there was people speculating that they weren't all dragons at some point I saw in the Cabal, but that seems to clearly state that they are.
He mentioned this on, was it his show? And he didn't backtrack necessarily, but he wasn't as committal about all five being dragons. So I think we'll see.
Yeah, but they could. I think they're all type of creatures, though. So
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I think that
Ancient creatures.
they're all reusing some of the dragon parts. I think is is the message really. We might get a different head, might get slightly different tail or something like this, but they are all this type of a creature. So
Hey,
See, I think they might do a big one like this, one more, and then the other three be smaller stuff.
yeah, that would be.
They could be
interesting,
super powerful stuff, but just not on the scale
Yeah.
of this. Because apart from
Yeah.
anything else, if you've got 5 dragons this big, very few people have got room to display that.
Yeah, can confirm. Yeah, I think most people don't have room to display one.
I was going to
No.
say, if Marvel or Disney can retcon stuff, Four Horsemen can retcon as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
where do you think this puts us in like for the next wave? What would you see as coming like in the next Mythics wave related to this, Rich? Or do you have any?
You know what I'm going to launch into? Shark men, lizard men.
How does it
It's
relate
like-
to this then? Is it just because of the other land masses and sea that we've seen?
Yeah, so I was thinking, I mean, Jeremy obviously gave the hint about prepare to set sail. Well, we're presuming it's a hint. Prepare to set sail next year. So it could be a case of that the inhabitants Mythos take to their ships and go further afield than they have done before. So maybe they meet new races that way, or maybe, some of the races, now that Beathir's seen Mythos, some of the other races come over a little bit, maybe. So, either way, it gives the sort of sea element, but the same chance, an opportunity to introduce new characters and new races. I mean, that's one of the things that's excited me the most, Yes, it's a bigger map. And I cannot wait to see how they're going to retcon it all into the idea of Mythos being just the one continent. Now it's not. I can't wait to see how they do that. But yeah, it's now, now there's new races and new types of characters. So.
And you, Mal? What's your thoughts on it?
I don't think we'll really get much more about the 5 pillars until the G-Con wave in November. I think it's more likely as well. We might get another member of, like Arasius' sect or something like that. I think he'll be more, but I think it's going to be one of those stories and things that grows over time a bit, rather than us get a whole load of stuff at once.
I mean, they could use the sect of Arasius as the way, couldn't they? So somebody from that contacts their contacts, as it were, on one of the other continents, and then all of a sudden they come over because of that, or there's that way in as well.
And do you think an interesting thing to do would be to, we'd say in the middle wave, so there's going to be probably another Mythics wave between now and G-Con, like there was last year with Ashes of Agbendor. Do you think that this might be a wave where you could get different character types into this new part of the story? So, whether it's these factions or introducing other factions, but, you got dwarves, you got goblins, you got orcs, you've got demons, you've got skeletons, etc. They're the existing ones, so you could get a couple of those sprinkled into these new factions.
I think that's more
relevant to that
initially. Yeah,
That would be a possibility. Yeah,
and then one or two of what Richard says, maybe new character types. I mean, we've got the snake men. We're probably a head sculpt away from like a lizard man.
Well,
for example,
it feels like if we get, to me anyway, if we're going to get new continent people, it seems focus on this woodland continent that Beathir's from would probably be the way to go initially, although we have also got Arasius, but we don't know so much about
tree men.
Yeah, we possibly.
for horseman treeman. My love of treeman.
Yeah. What else around dragons could you think of? In terms of
gnomes.
Gnomes and fungi people.
Yeah.
The workhorses behind the dragon's success.
No, but I mean, we've got the kind of knights, so the Baethers, Fury, and the Sir Benegar.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a warrior
Yeah,
group, this one. So perhaps Baethyr's group will very much be like Aetheron's group. More unites.
Baethyr's barbarian. No,
Mate, it doesn't read like that, does it? If Baethyr's Fury is the general of the army, it feels more like it'll be,
If
And
they're
we don't-
barbarians, it'll be Rich's Fury.
yeah. And we don't seem to be getting like dragon riders as such. So, we're not going to get a bunch like the Targaryens in Game of Thrones or whatever. We're not going to get that type of a character as such.
I think that's a good thing.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it differentiates for sure.
I feel like a Eresius. I'll get it right eventually. So,
Well, you're reading the bios next.
it's going to be a tough one. I was going to say, I think that's going to be the way we get, and one of the other continents, but it could well be the one where Eresius is the fifth pillar of, which is another dragon. We know it's another dragon. The face is a dragon face. It's probably a worm-like dragon, the Asian Chinese style dragon. Yeah. That I feel like is where we're going to get the Asian armor coming in, and we might get a few more barbaric type characters. Could we get some that look a bit samurai-esque? We've already got a couple where they're starting to look a bit like that. So.
Rich is wanting to shout at you there.
I'm very excited by that prospect. You know me, anything.
Okay. Samurai barbarians are fine.
Yeah, I mean, because they're samurai.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's different. I'm sort of barbarians is one thing, but samurai, they're
Yeah, but yeah, the whole line took a swerve towards the Middle East and the Far East. I personally would be overjoyed because there's so many cool armor types and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they can definitely do with visiting certain places on the map. I think one of the most interesting things about a new wave coming might be that we get a more detail on a particular section of that now exploded map that we've seen of Mythos.
Yeah.
So you get to see place names and areas within, say, the eastern part of the map. I mean, Baether is west, so he's Pillar of the West. So,
I got a question for you guys. So it says with Sir Benegar that they're charged with, but one of the things is protecting him in his slumber and that sort of stuff, which suggests they're on this other continent. However, the face sculpt is human, and if humans were created by Selene and Helios, then
were they?
Well, that was the suggestion in their bios. So if that was the case, then how are they on the other continent?
Well, I mean, it's not the same way that Zeus created humans over here, and whoever created human, and our God created humans over here, and is that not just that?
So other entity sort of thing that might have done. Okay, yeah, that would work with me.
In the Selene and Helios thing is they fell deeply in love, and together they created many children which would first populate the earth. So, I mean, how did they come to be? It's okay. They're gods and goddesses, but maybe they weren't the only ones. Such,
yeah. All the five pillars. They spread out a bit more initially, and then the two of them sort of focused in a bit more on the continent that we've known as Mythos. Yeah. So that's why Helios made his bad guys appear there.
Do we know where Baether's story originally fits in on the lore? When did Baether come into existence?
We haven't got that yet.
We haven't got that.
Yeah,
no,
so that might be important.
Suggests before the time of the great beast, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does suggest that. So I think that there'll be a little bit of retconning to do there then with that, possibly. But I don't think people are, I think it's only a small majority of the collectors that are clued into the the story up to now really deeply.
Yeah.
And the people that are know it really well. And then there's the casual people that I suppose we were before starting the podcast. That kind of, take bits from it that are cool. And I guess now we're more deeply into it, so we're interested to see where it goes. But I think that my thing about the lore is to see what maybe it's going to bring us in terms of character types is very interesting. And then if we get a full rounded story that like you can read in the form of a book or or one particular story that kind of makes a good fictional account of something, that's what interests me. Something you could make like a movie out of, or you could make a cartoon out of, rather than just lots of historical stuff that patches together, which is kind of what it is now.
Yeah. I mean, if there are humans on the other continents, that's fine. I'm adamant in my keep Cosmerian human free thing, but with Mythos, I'll allow it.
Maybe that
So
might be the
funny.
thing, Rich. Yeah, that's why you get all these. Maybe Sir Benigar is actually a fish. Maybe that's why his helmet is
That's
shaped
it.
in that
Nobody's
way.
given him a blood test or done DNA test.
Yeah. The bonus head is just to throw people off. It's actually just a mannequin head.
Yeah. What if it's a lizard underneath that head, Rich? You never know.
I'd be very happy.
Like Cobra Commander,
Yeah. Or V. It's straight into the land of V, isn't it? It's
V's
just
a
like,
better example, yeah.
I love it. So, anything more on this part, or do we want to click on to
let's move on.
the next bit? Yeah.
Talk about Mythos' biggest turncoat.
So, yeah, Arazak.
Right. Arazak. Once a young wizard rising through the ranks of the Convocation of Basilia, Arazak is as devious and as cruel sorcerer bent on promulgating the word of Poxus, unsatisfied with the ancient approved texts of Egbendor that his fellow acolytes were studying. Arazak is constantly thirsting for more knowledge, more spells, and more power. His pursuits led him away from the kingdom of Ophidian and the Tower of Basilia and into the chaos of the Nethergate, where he gathered the members of the Circle of Poxus. One convening was all that it took for Arazak to find his new home amongst like-minded sorcerers searching for insight into the sinister power.
Yeah, so he is definitely out for himself, no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or is he like maybe sort of immortal, and he's been around since before Eresius went into because it sounds like the pillars went into hibernation almost, doesn't it, for whatever reason? Yeah. But it sounds like their teachings and the cults have been in the background and even made it to Mythos whilst everything's been going on. So is he immortal maybe? And he was finding ways to bring Eresius back, perhaps, or that'd be.
I mean, who do you meet through the Nethergate? I mean, I guess you could meet beings from different time periods as well.
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah. We all assume demons, but there's other things in there as well.
I think that's a good point, Mal, about him, living for so long. I mean, you would get bored just kind of flogging the same kind of belief system, that maybe over time you would move away, Yeah. Could you imagine supporting the same football team for 1,000 years?
Well, I do feel like what the bio we're reading there is what he's doing now. And then being part of the sect of Eresius is an older thing that's happened, or perhaps as the five pillars.
Yeah.
He moves over, I don't know.
Maybe he'll get a little addendum to his bio. Maybe in the next one. Maybe we'll get an updated Arazak figure in a future wave.
That'd be quite
like
cool.
A version 2.
See what they do with him, a younger version or an older version.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very hard to tell. I mean, he does have the bags around the eyes there, but I mean, it's very hard to tell. He's definitely older, but yeah, with these type of
Or
wizards,
pretending to be older.
Yeah, that's true.
It, yeah, it could be
Like that thing in
maybe.
Game of Thrones that they never went anywhere with, where the
Yeah.
the Grand Maester was clearly a lot more sprightly than he appeared.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Maybe that's what's delaying that last book. Or is it even the last book he's on? Or is
No,
it,
I think
is
there's
it-
2 left, isn't there? I think.
Come on, man. Yeah, I did read the first couple as well after I started watching it. But then I decided not to continue reading them until he'd finished it. Because that was 8 years ago. I thought by now I'd have got to read them, but still going. Anyway, so yeah, I remember people. There's been a couple of people we've had as guests on the show where we talk about favorite characters and stuff like that, and a lot of people like the ones that switch sides or switch factions. It seems to be a very interesting character trope, and of course it does give more intrigue and more interesting storylines for a particular character when they do that. So yeah, Arazak is now one of those, and he is a cool figure. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I really
Very cool figure. Yeah.
I think of those Proxus wizards, he's the coolest. I mean, Zende is cool. He's a 1.0, but he's this kind of archetypal evil wizard. Perfect
Sort of necromancer
mythic
vibes,
version of it. Yeah.
Particularly with that screaming head sculpt as well. We can do all sorts of cool poses with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Arya the Talonbender. So this is one I definitely need a reminder on.
Yeah.
Bio-wise.
So, Arya, the Talon Bearer. Oh, I keep losing. Sorry, I'm losing my spare play. Active during the first age of Mythos, the Order of the Five Pillars was a cult whose belief were considered deeply heretical. Daring to question the story of the realm's creation, these cultists worshipped ancient creatures of immense proportions, who they believe had existed in Mythos for untold ages. Members of these cults and the familiars that manifested an extension of their faith were driven from the kingdom shortly after the First Great War. A scholar who initially fought beside Basilia, Arya, the Talonbearer, broke from the convocation to found the Sector Erasius, where she chronicled the evidence that formed the basis of the cultist beliefs. Whilst those writings were all destroyed, evidence suggests that they were actually saved by members of Ophidian and remain hidden within the vaults of the kingdom's great library. Okay.
So
Some
another
questions
turncoat.
answered there. Yeah.
Yeah, another turncoat. So
Also, as I say, some questions answered there about the timelines and where these cults fit in then. So the dragons were before the age of the great beasts. However, the cults and that herd tell of these great beasts that existed before times. So kind of like dinosaurs, I guess. So Rich, that kind of answers your
It does,
questions,
yeah.
maybe somewhat, a little bit. Do the people on the other islands actually believe in Selene and Helios, but didn't know that Mythos existed and vice versa? Or
Yes,
people
and it
who
says,
travel
doesn't it,
back
about
and
them being,
forth.
about them being driven away, so that nicely populates humans elsewhere.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, but this is interesting where, we'd say the part of Mythos we know is not aware of the other parts of Mythos, and they're not aware of it as such. And of course they have different belief systems, what you might call a religious or whatever, if that could be a type of it. So they are going to almost have conflicting histories or beliefs about how things came about and how things work. So I guess that gives them lots of scope to go in different directions for these type of characters.
I've got to say as well, the further we get away from the fact that she was part of the wave she was part of, she's such a cool looking figure. she kind of got overshadowed by everything else in that wave, didn't she, at the time? But she's very cool.
Yeah, she's one you're glad you got an all in, and she'll be in it, and it'll be one of those that'll you'll be taken out going, oh, cool, yeah. You know, I mightn't have ordered her if I could only get 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that I was able to get the wave, and then you have her. Yeah, so she's the founder of the sect, so obviously pretty powerful character. Probably going to be a lot more story around her in the future.
Do we think she's still alive? Because it talks about her founding everything at the start, doesn't it? So is she long gone?
Oh, interesting. But again, is it a bit like Arazak, who I get the feeling has been around a lot longer than it's, you know, I think he could easily have been around the same sort of time as her. So how old is she under that mask?
This is true.
Big craggy head like Arazak. So is this going to be like, you know, the Mandalorian ship situation with Tazro Pulse, you know, where they destroy it in the series and it's dead, and then you get the $500 ship delivered to your house 2 years later.
I mean, we're getting skeletons, strictly speaking.
But they're perfect because they can be then undead, you know.
But yeah, she's great.
Something
for the little dragon.
Yeah,
because you guys called her Aria a couple of times, and I was like, surely it's a Raya. So I went onto the pronunciation list on the website, and she's not there yet, annoyingly. However, Arizak is, and according to them, it's Erizak.
Oh,
even though it's with an A, it's pronounced Erizak.
Okay.
So she might be
let's restart this episode.
But according to this, Arathir is also Erathir as well.
They're wrong, aren't they? Let's put it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to pick Jeremy
right in with Rich's wrong reading of the pronunciations.
Yes. Even though it starts ER, it's actually pronounced A, and I'll be like, hang on.
Erathir. Yeah, maybe that is how it is. It could be just our accents emphasize the E part of it more than the American accent.
Maybe.
Yeah. So this stuff in the vaults of the Great Library, is that the stuff that Shui is looking through now?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes. Not deliberately, but just trying to see what he can find, isn't he? And he'll stumble
he's
across
just trying to.
like, oh my god!
Yeah, so which is probably where, and this is where the is she still alive thing could come in, because maybe we're hearing about her through him reading about the history stuff within these vaults, rather than her being, you know, a factor in the current timeline.
Or she's trapped in a book. So not like a really tall book, but her essence or whatever is trapped in a book. He opens it, she comes back.
This is the plotline
Just
from
throwing
Harry
it out
Potter.
there.
This is the plotline from Harry Potter.
I've not seen any of the Harry Potter stuff, so
it's one of the Horcruxes early on in the film. Don't worry, it's not a huge spoiler.
But you make a good point there, because that could mean we might see her in, if we get an equivalent of an Ashes of Egbend or Wave this year, which would be quite cool for them to carry that. After the initial, this is what they're doing now, it would actually be quite cool to carry that on. We might see more of, the cults via those stories. So earlier than I am expecting.
Or even her just popping up in different bios.
Yeah.
Would be interesting.
Yeah, reference to her. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
She was involved.
So that wave is pushed back a little bit. It was supposed to come within the 12 months. I mean, they had hoped to, shall we say. And now it's a Q3, so it's not hugely back in the queue, but maybe a little bit later than we expected. I think still within 18 months is probably all right.
There's a lot
Absolutely,
of
yeah. I mean, the factory are cranking through it now, aren't they?
Yeah, we got 2 cosmic waves coming up now. So
Yeah.
Mal, you're gonna have to we're gonna have to whip out the cosmic lore at some point when these waves start to come in.
Aren't we?
Yeah, soon.
Yeah.
Soon. Right.
We need the comic to come out, guys. Jeremy, if you're
Oh
listening,
yeah,
the
the
comic.
cosmic comic. Yeah. We should get Joe Suter on to see. Maybe we should grill him about it. Rhaegar then, finally.
All right. I will say before I start, one of my favourite characters in the line.
Yeah. Figure I picked up last year.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Mr. Jones.
I can say, having sold 3 of them in the past, I do like him, but not enough to keep.
You like him for the money.
Spent a small fortune. Well, I spent a small fortune on him to get him because I like him so much. Right. Rhaegar. From all across the world, warriors were gathered either voluntarily or sometimes by force to test their mettle within the walls of the Mercurian Colosseum. One such combatant arrived from far away with a knowledge of battle never before seen in the lands of Mythos. His speed, precision, and hand-to-hand combat techniques were unmatched, and his enemies were quickly dispatched with ferocious flurry of fists and feet. Whether with his hands alone or with any weapon he was supplied, Rhaegar instilled the fear of the power of his namesake, the dragon, into its opponents.
There you go. So, land far away could definitely be a reference to him coming from somewhere that's not within the shores of the mythos we know. So, yeah, I think this bio obviously was written a long time ago. So,
probably a bit of retconning needed with that one.
Possibly, but I'm sure they had kind of an outline of the whole story. It's maybe not within detail. So I think they knew.
And they've already said, haven't they, that Zende came from outside of Mythos. So there's examples already, so they can fit this in easily enough.
Yeah,
I just meant more that his name is the dragon. Rhaegar is a dragon. So, which is, I know, is a reference more to a figure that is a tribute to someone, but now there are dragons with names.
Yeah, so maybe one of the dragons will be called Rhaegar as well.
I mean, that'd be pretty badass.
That would be pretty cool, huh? What color? I suppose red. The red dragon, maybe. Yeah, so nice for Rhaegar to have a home. He was previously in the House of the Noble Bear, so
nice of him to get out of that for starters.
Yeah. Slightly sad to see him go, but the sect of Erasius is shaping up to be a cool faction. So
sure is, yeah.
It's got some great figures in it so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm sure more to come. So there we go. I'm excited anyway for the next Mythic Wave, whatever it may be, even just to see what it is. Hopefully no more centaurs.
Yeah. I'm still different to you guys. I don't think we'll get a mid-year wave. I think we'll be the next big one. I think we'll have legacies and possibly an extra Figura Obscura, etc.
I think you could be.
But I don't think we're going to get another wave. Or if we do, it'll be tiny.
Maybe.
And at that point, it's like, is it worth it?
Well, they didn't extend the dragon because they said that they had a very well put together timeline. So, they did a reveal at IshCon last year, and we said that's in May this year. And they dropped the Figura Obscura earlier because that would have been, if they did the Figura Obscura, it would have been this month. So,
that's the point.
Yeah, maybe there's something being announced at IshCon that we don't know about yet. But there would be lots of, there will be enough Mythics fans at IshCon to have a live stream like they did the last time and all that. So, yeah, sounds good. And we'll see. They have lots of people working for them now. Eric Miller does a lot of painting with them. He's doing projects for them. So, goodness knows what Eric is painting right now that we will see in the future, for example. Yeah, so it's all happening. The dragon was successful, so that gives them scope as well to, do more stuff, not to put the brakes on, or, economy is going down the tank, so that's maybe not great, but we'll have to see how that pans out. Maybe people will take less holidays but still buy stuff, Could go like that.
Exactly.
What do you think? Yeah. Although the dollar exchange rate for us is improved for sure.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, we can definitely suck up some of the tariffs on our side just through the currency.
Yeah.
So that's the crack anyway. Anything more, guys?
Nothing from me?
No, nothing from me.
What are we going to do next week? Who knows?
That's the part of the excitement. We keep ourselves guessing, never mind the listeners.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Remember, everybody, stay safe out there. Particularly if you're Bollywood dancing. There's some difficult moves. You might trip. Stay safe.